Anyway, afternoon, Reverend. It's basically 2 o'clock in the afternoon, August 2nd, 2024, for Friday. 97 degrees outside and getting warmer. And not to mention humid and muggy. How you doing? Okay, yeah, as always, in response to the videos that you've been doing, so, yeah, got questions. Always got questions. Never stops with the answers, so, or challenges. So, Reverend, shall we try this again with the well, vote for Trump? Don't be like him. Well, the problem is we are like him. We are like him. I have seen, I have come across many things that made us into him. Anger, hatred, we get inflicted, bitten by a werewolf one way or another. And then we slowly mutate into the people that we don't want to be. Because we're so damn angry that we don't want to be victimized. The bully tactic. How do you how do you protect the innocent from becoming a bully? You have to shield them all the time, or you have to learn how to protect themselves. And they have to understand that it may give them confidence one way or another, but understand the darker nature of it. We got a darker nature in our souls. We all want to be like Christ. But even I suspected Christ also had a darker nature inside of him. We keep thinking that he's pure light and everything else, but when he's human, that's the problem. That's what we're trying to get at. When he's human, when he's acting as human, or humanly possible. He did get angry. He does get angry. I think anger and emotions are a part of a nature of the universe. Of a universe that we can't detect with our squishy brains. That maybe there is powers and forms and formats that we don't understand. All the stories that we've told ourselves concerning about what heaven is like, or the fall of angels. Why? Why? We want to keep it simplistic. We would blame God for everything, for creating good and evil. Why? If he wanted good, he would be creating good, and everything else remains as such. But there's always some lines crossing when one's trying to ask these kind of situations, because things we're supposed to take on faith and trust, and other things we're supposed to question like crazy. Are we allowed to question? I mean, we have been given a curse. If Adam and Eve had not been curious or installed with curiosity, what happened with the tree of good and evil, tree of knowledge, that we now know after biting into that fruit what happened, and then each generation is infected and afflicted by it, and therefore starts their chain reaction throughout whatever period of linear time we understand, but maybe it's more than just that. We make shows, we make suppositions, we can try to think things through or imagine. We also imagine that there is a balance out there somewhere. If God wanted a balance, he should have been doing a counterbalance in there. A commandment is not just enough. Why was the tree there in the first place? Temptation? If there was such knowledge and power there, why was it not shielded from Adam and Eve? They were supposed to be innocent, living in the garden forever and having kids and stuff. It would have been a hell of a lab experiment. But I have always had a problem with this one. Reverend, in the stories I wrote, that I sent you by PDF. If you hadn't got them, I'll send them out again. But in one of the stories happens to deal with the fall of heaven. There had been splits happening. People can imagine and say, no, 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 this is blasphemous. Not really. Why is there hell then? See, sometimes these concepts I still have to question left and right. We want to follow the Good Shepherd, fine. Well, what if the Good Shepherd's not around and we have to depend upon ourselves against the wolves? In reality, shepherds have more than just one. They have helpers. Dogs do sheep herding. We have rams for insemination, but they have horns for defense. And we have others that get involved, maybe a family. In ranching, it's not just one person handling everything. There's a team out there. So let me suppose there's a team out there making sure that we lambs are safe. But even amongst the lambs, we also have a black sheep, maybe a little bit rebellious. Or maybe he's going to have the horns growing out and being a protector. Or he could be a villain and being tossed out because he's not one of them. There's always suppositions in situations like this. Gothic tales were trying to tell us about ghost stories. What if they were trying to tell us about something psychological that we didn't even realize? The darker nature of our own selves, our own choices, our own actions, turning into what we fear the most. Or sometimes being forced into a situation that we have no control over and changed. And people would consider us as sweet and natured and everything else like that, but until they discover the darker nature of us, it's like, I don't like this other side. We'll get used to it sometimes. It sucks. Because now I got to be on the defensive all the damn time, being fearful and angry and pissed off at people. Well, it changed that. How? You gotta change the circumstances of the world that I'm reacting to at this point over here. Problem is, being a villain at this point, you blame everything else outside instead of the choices made on the inside. What scares us the most is looking at our darker nature and realizing we've got that one. We have books, we have literature, we have imaginations left and right, creations talking about it to us all the time. Sometimes we create our own Frankenstein and we're not quite sure if we're the monster or we're the creator or both. And maybe we are the both. We just self-replicate the problem all the time. You know, I watch a lot of sci-fi. There are a lot of themes in there. Read the books. Authors have their own opinions on some, but we always borrow and steal from each other. And sometimes the themes are still there, but change the character's name, change the location, setting, something, but always the theme is in there. And in one show of Star Trek, first season, what was that? Oh, there's several of them in there. It was about a landing party going on a planet. And Captain Kirk had a transporter accident where he was split into two. A kinder, gentler captain in one, and the other one, a ravenous, very ravenous. He was the darker nature. He was the wolf. And in order to be a starship captain, you need both sides. You do need compassion in dealing with life forms, but also you need the strength of the wolf necessary to deal with the job that the captain has to do. And it's not that easy. They have to bear the responsibility and the pain from others, and they have to be the shepherd, so to speak, of the crew. People like Trump take advantage over everything and everybody, and they don't care who they run over. And other people look at it and think it's so cool. Venezuela just re-elected Maduro, who's like Trump, likes the power, likes the money, likes the authority, got used to it, got drunk on the damn thing. And now he can't live without it. It's like a drug. And he don't care. He's willing to destruct everything around him just to continue in that phase, in that mindscape. You read the books of recovery, of 12 Step. We talk about that a lot. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It is a choice. But other times we feel like we haven't got a choice, Reverend. We haven't got a choice. Circumstances force us to change into something we don't want to be. But had no choice because to protect the others, we had to be something mutated. We had to grow in a different direction that we no longer recognized in ourselves, that the childhood dreams are forced with realities. We're forced to go into combat. We're forced to face. We're forced to face battle. We're facing ourselves on the battlefield, and we're in conflict. Never was it second or third one? The Lazarus show on that one. I can recognize most of them by the title names. Season 1, Charlie X, Man Trap, no. War Gone Before, no. Naked Time. Enemy Within, oh, that was one. Mud's Women, no. Miri, Dagger of the Mind, well, that's whatever. Corbett Maneuver, Menagerie, Conscious of the King. Balance of Terror, that was a good one. That's a submarine one. It's like Silent Run Deep show. Squire Gothos, no. Arena, no. Arena by miscommunications and something goes crazy. Court Martial, a guy goes nuts and almost destroys the Enterprise. Space Heat, you got Khan. Taste of Armageddon, two planets at war with each other for centuries. Double in the Dark, an animal trying to protect its youth, its siblings, its children, all on a planet that's going through drilling stuff. Iron of Mercy. Did I see this one right here? Let me see that one. There it is. The Alternative Factor. I thought I was in there somewhere. First season, episode 27. A man meets his antimatter portion. And at the end of it, he has a eternity battle of keeping the balance without destroying both universes. Some things you have to take with a grain of salt, and other things not so much. Let's see a second one. Am I Coronance Adortus? Changeling. Mirror, mirror. Let me see something. I want to see. Try this one. Mirror, mirror. Alternative to the Federation of Planets, you have the Imperial. You have the Terran Empire. That was the second season. Episode 4 in that one. Doomsday Machine. Well, that's a classic right there. You're fighting against a machine that has no soul and destroys things for survival. Alien races a long time ago, warring with each other, built a doomsday machine. At least one side to annihilate the other one and just was never turned off. Metamorphosis. The reasons why I watched Star Trek as an adult more is remembering the episodes I saw and then understanding more and more what they were about. Wolf in the Fold. How about Jack the Ripper? Immunity Syndrome, Private Little War. Patterns of Force. Omega Chlorine by any other name. What was that one? I thought I recognized that one. Okay, aliens taking over the Enterprise. Want to take it over to Andromeda. Red Circuses. I know. Looking for something that's being like the decisions make and that you have no choice but to be part of. Paradise Syndrome. Plant Life trying to take over people. Children Shall Lead. This one. Michael Chomsky. He was famous. He was infamous in there. You ever heard of the attorney, where the hell was it? Marvin Bell? Or Belli? Marvin Belli was a lawyer and a writer and an actor. He had a film bibliography in Wikipedia on this guy. But his career, he was a lawyer. He was admission into the California bar. Yeah, and I think it was back in the 30s and 40s on this one here. Excuse me. He got himself into a lot of cases, but I remember this guy's name because, okay, he was try this one. He represented Jack Ruby pro bono after Ruby shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald was trying to do assassinations. Attempted to prove that Ruby was legally insane, had a history of mental illness in his family. Ruby was convicted of murder with malice and received a death sentence. He was the one who assassinated Kennedy. But still, he continued on with his legal career. Even, let's see, he was also involved with the Zodiac Killer. Trying to capture the guy. There's something more to it than that I was trying to think of. He also was involved with film. I was just trying to get some things to latch onto to talk about. Sometimes circumstances force us into situations we don't like to get ourselves into. A balance of power one way or another. There was one episode, where was it? I think it was the second season on that one. Paris of Force, Private Little War. Second season on this one. Episode 19 on this. Where a young Starfleet officer befriended a native on the planet. And in order to keep the culture from being contaminated, only certain people would know what Kirk was until Kirk came back and discovered the planet that he came to years ago, actually years earlier, had become a war zone because Klingon Empire came in and wanted to balance power, offset it. So now it would had to introduce weapons of war to offset it. If one side had flintlocks, the other side had flintlocks. If one side actually had to have uh, carbine rifles, they're going to have carbine rifles, and the choice is made on that one. They have to keep a balance of power on that one. Much like in our own life, in our own lifetimes, in our histories that we have, they had to be balances of power. We had to change and mutate to people we didn't even like in the first place, just for survival. Sometimes I kept trying to figure out what was God's intention of all this stuff. I mean, why the tree of knowledge was there in the first place without God's knowledge? Faith and trust in the innocents who are born with curiosity. But I suppose God didn't want robots, otherwise he made robots. Emotional robots. As toys. God created us as life forms. To expand, to be creative, and unfortunately, get ourselves into trouble. And therefore, even with strict instructions saying don't do it, we did it in the first place. Why? Because we were born with curiosity. We were created in curiosity. What happens if? We don't want to be Trump. I sure as hell don't want to be that orange gas bag. And yes, I call him names. And that way I guess I am him. Because I am a reflection of that. I am a reflection of that. I feel like I am going to get ostracized anyway. I'm a black sheep. But why would Christ and God like black sheep in the first place? These examples, I guess. Either to be or not to be or something else. But we're the assholes that had to keep being assholes and telling people these guys are the assholes. We're trying to be the good guys here. How dare you? But with that how dare you, we're putting ourselves in that position, aren't we? But just how innocent and how protective are we supposed to be and not react to the world? Decisions and things happen that sometimes we feel like we've got no choice but to go with the flow and then regret the living crap out of it because we got forced into the situation, or we believed that we got forced into the situation. How did we not see this? Because we didn't see it coming, and now we got to react to it. You're driving along, and then you get hit by some other asshole who's speeding along, being chased by cops. Now, how are you supposed to be feeling about that stuff? You recover physically from the thing, but your mind is still reeling from this damn thing. You're reeling from the situation. How do you not deal with this? This is the turmoil that drives us crazy at this point. We got hit and run by things outside of our forces that made us totally disturbed. We are changed by circumstances, by events, by people's actions or inactions. And we have to mutate, modulate. We have to grow, expand. We have to be something we don't like to be. We wanted to be this simple, innocent kid. Unfortunately, compared to the major universe we have around us right now, we have chaos and confusion. But in certain circumstances, we can also look at it as the most beautiful damn thing ever. We don't want chaos and confusion and conflict thrusted upon people. We don't want that. We'd like to have a nice, peaceful tone. And there's the struggle. There's the balance. There's the fight right there. There's the gray. There's the middle ground. That's the decision constantly made at this point. We have to be that way. We have to be that way. There has to be a ram. There has to be black sheep in this. And there's a phone call. So try this one. I just had a guy named Chuck Bostwick from LA County Supervisor Barger, who represents the Antelope Valley. And he works out here with Supervisor Barger of LA County. That little matter regarding the sheriff situation, He's going to find out what's going on. I sent him on the website just to see what's going on. Let's just hope. I don't want any miscommunications happening at this point, but just a little bit of an update here. Look, I don't want to be I don't want to be Trump. I don't want to be like him in the first place. He doesn't like anybody. He doesn't like himself. And I don't like being that kind of a person. If I am that kind of a person, then I should not be that kind of person. It's not how I was raised. It's not how I'm raised, not how I am, not the choices I make at this point over here. So I'm not choosing to be him. I'm choosing to be, I don't know. Christ would want me to be like him, but I know he was human. So I choose to be human. I know he got ticked off during a Sunday when there was merchants there making money. And he got pissed off about it enough that he thrashed the place. To me, that tells me about humanity right there. Even in the form of a God on the earth. Even a God is not immune to emotions. It doesn't have to be human emotions. We all have them. Even the plants, even life forms have them. The choices and decisions we make. And that should be the message. That being said, Reverend Multi,